Are you thinking about selling a rental property with tenants still inside? Do you know Washington's tenants laws? You could be walking into a legal mess that delays your sale, or worse, you end up in court for months trying to control or get control of your own property. This episode's all about the legal guardrails. Because in Washington, tenants have rights. And that can be super annoying, I know, but if you ignore them, you could end up wasting time, losing money, or getting sued. I'm Jeremy Schooler, your rebel real estate guy. I am the founder of Kitsap Home Pro, a company that's built different and built on purpose so that we can help real people navigate what I call the common real estate problem. We don't box you into just one option. We're going to help you understand the options so that we can create a customized solution for hard to sell homes and properties. Before we dig into this episode, I want to point out what I've pointed out in the other ones in this series is I'm recording from someplace a little different than normal and have had some technical difficulties doing so, which has caused me to be using my AirPods for audio, and I'm looking at notes that are off to the side rather than directly in front of the screen. So it's causing me to not be able to look right at the screen as I'm talking this time. Hopefully the information is still as valuable for you, and it's not too distracting that I'm looking over here rather than at you trying to make direct eye contact. So just so you know, that's what's going on this time. Let's not waste any more time and get into this thing. Point number one, tenants have the right to stay through the lease. If your tenants are on a fixed term lease, let's say a 1-year lease, for instance, you can sell the property, but the lease doesn't disappear. It goes with the property. The buyer is going to inherit that lease. And that means that the tenant can stay all the way through until the lease expires. You can't just kick them out early just because you want to sell the home. Too many landlords assume that selling will just cancel the lease. It doesn't. The contract carries over to the new owner. Different rules for a month-to-month tenant. If your tenants are on a month-to-month lease, Washington law requires a certain amount of notice before you can just end it. For most situations, that's going to be 90 days written notice to terminate without cause. If you're selling to someone who intends to live in the property, technically you can give them a 60-day notice once you're under contract. The notice must be written, delivered properly. It has to follow state law to the letter. And if not, it's not going to hold up. And judges and tenant attorneys will look very closely at the timing and delivery. So cutting corners here is not going to help you at all. My advice, talk to your attorney. Better yet, have them write it up for you and even deliver it. But if you do that, and when you do that, I still recommend communication with your tenants. Let them know that it's coming so it doesn't catch them off guard, because nobody likes to get a letter from an attorney. Point number 3 is you must provide proper access for showings. As the landlord, you can't just barge in with a buyer and say, hey, we want to show the house. Washington law requires that you give at least 48 hours notice before showing the property to a potential buyer. And it has to be in a reasonable time of day, whatever that means. You have to respect the tenant's privacy and their property. If you ignore this, your tenants could deny access, or worse, they could file a complaint. And once a complaint is filed, it can slow everything down. Point number 4 is the sale does not cancel tenant rights. I keep driving that one home, but it's so important because so many people miss this one. Selling a property doesn't cancel the protections. The sale just simply changes who the landlord is on paper. The tenants still keep every right that they had in the original lease. Security deposits are going to transfer over to the new owner. Lease terms, including the rent amounts, they all remain in effect. Tenants cannot be retaliated against either. You can't get mad at them and retaliate against your tenants simply because they didn't act exactly the way you wanted them to act. That's going to bring problems on yourself. The buyer of the property, or a potential buyer, they have to be willing to step right into your shoes as a landlord. That means all the obligations transfer over. That new owner has to honor everything agreed to, whether they like it or not. Later, when the lease is up, they can try to renegotiate terms and move from there. Point number 5, communication and documentation protects you. If your tenants are difficult, following the letter of the law protects you from claims of harassment or illegal evictions. And by the way, if your tenants are not difficult, they're easy to work with, it's still just smart to do things by the book here. The biggest legal messes happen when things aren't clear. You got to put all notices in writing. Keep records of when and how you delivered them. Communicate honestly with your tenants about what's happening. That way they're not confused and they don't freak out about something. It can help you keep your property sale on track. And not much more is going to derail a closing faster than if a legal dispute comes up with a tenant. So here's the bottom line. In Washington, tenants have strong rights. And as a landlord, you can sell your property but you have to follow the rules. Leases transfer, notices matter, showings are regulated, and the sale doesn't erase your obligations, and those obligations are going to transfer over to the buyer of the property. The more you understand these rules, the smoother your sale will be. And the more you respect them, the less chance you'll face delays, disputes, or legal blowback. Now, I'm no attorney, so don't take this as legal advice, but I highly recommend that you talk to your attorney well in advance. They should be a wealth of information for you. And if you don't have one and you still want to get your place sold, you can feel free to reach out. Let's talk. If necessary, I'll ask my attorney to help with the process. But either way, we can find the smoothest route to a solution for you. Here's what I want you to remember from this video. You're not powerless, but you're not above the law either. Too many landlords rush into selling with tenants, and they end up learning the hard way that a deal is going to fall apart because they didn't give proper notice, or they get sued because they tried to nudge the tenants out illegally. You don't need that headache. So take a breath. You've got some options, and you've got a path forward. And that's going to lead us to the next step in episode 3. We're going to tackle the big question every landlord eventually asks. Should you evict tenants before selling or work with them in place? We're going to break down the pros, the cons, and the risks of both paths, so that you can make a decision with some clarity instead of just second guessing. And lastly, if you found this video or any of these videos in this series helpful, could you please help me out by hitting the like button and the subscribe button? It really helps a lot with getting this information out to the people that need to see it. Thank you so much. Take care.